Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on Daybreak Extra. Let's start this segment by taking a look at the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Now, the major story here of the Daily Trust is saying faces and story behind resurrection, scrapping of the Heritage Bank. You'll find these details on page 4. Now, there's been a bit of rumor that I decide to share with you on this. There's been a bit of rumor of we all know how we've been warned against third tiers and even second tier bank. That's tier 1, tier 2. Tier 1 is considered the banks that you're more assured of. And if you should go on Google, you definitely get what tier 1 is. I don't want to call on any bank name. Go and make your own research on that. So because of what happened to Heritage Bank, there's been a bit of concern that it could be replicated in other say maybe perhaps the tier 2 or even the ones below that one. There could be a replication of what happened to Heritage Bank. So just put your ears to the ground and be careful and just be ready for any situation that might unfold. We saw how the ex-BB Nigeria housemate Mercy Eke came out to make an alarming concern, saying Heritage Bank has 100 million of hers, and at this point, what they are offering to give her, I think it's she said 10 or 30 million. I'm not really sure. And that is a massive loss for her. And when people were curious, were asking her, why would she leave that huge amount of money in a bank like Heritage Bank, which is a small bank? And she said it's because they were one of the sponsors of her show, and they were advised to, in order to get their money complete, they had to bank with that bank. So just keep your ears to the ground, because this is a really scary situation. And honestly, when you lose a huge amount of money because a bank is being folded, it's not even funny at all. So at this point, make use of that news in order to avert a lot of situation. All right, away from that, which you'd find on page 4, there's a special report done by the Daily Trust Saturday, saying prices of rams soar ahead of Salah. I mean, is this news? This was really expected. We were expecting this to happen.
There are a couple of videos that have been circulating, which I think showed either you or someone.
I saw you.
I think 700.
Yeah. Well, it's up to a million now.
700. Yeah, 750 and up to 1 million naira.
That is really scary.
And I mean, there are different species. They call there are some that is called dankasa and what have you. I've never known that there is any.
Do I care? What we want is for rams.
Maybe the meat is going to be sweeter. Different.
Yeah, of course, that's the belief of our people. But definitely one of the major causes of all of this is because of the Nigeria border relationship right now. According to the traders of this rams, they say that custom charges are really high. And because of that, it's definitely affecting. And let's not forget cost of transportation.
Also.
Exactly. And there is insecurity, inflation, and transportation.
Everything.
To blame. Everything at this point. Exactly. Also, buyers grown as traders bemoan low patronage. Honestly, for the first time, even though we know that things like this, there is spiritual belief that most times, even if you're not ready to do it, if God provides you means to do it, you can do it. But because of the prices these days, there is low expectations of people doing the Eid sacrifice because of how pricey this whole situation is, and you can't blame people. So while traders are bemoaning, you should know that people are just thinking of the food to eat. You'll find this story on page 5 and 6 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Now, moving on to one of the things that we opened the show on was the governors reject the federal government's 60,000 minimum wage, says proposal unsustainable and unrealistic. You'll find this story on page 7. Now, this is something that I was saying earlier, that the Tripartite Committee have a lot to consider before putting out this price, because we have business owners who are lamenting that if it should go beyond even the 60,000, they will not be able to sustain to pay workers. A lot of people might lose their job, and that is the fear that the federal government has. And there is that fear also of the governors, that's the subnationals, because we know even the 30,000 that was approved which that was in 2019, which elapsed in 2024 April by the former President Muhammadu Buhari. There were some, I don't want to say a lot, but there were some states that never paid that 30,000 minimum wage. Yes, so governors are aware of that, and right now they're rejecting, saying they cannot even pay that 60,000 naira. But a lot of people are thinking this time the governors should be able to pay, considering the almost doubled allocation being sent to the subnationals from the federal government. There's been a lot of increment for the government, the governors and the states allocation. So 60,000 is something that definitely we're expecting the governors to talk, but we weren't expecting this much pushback, and it seems we're going back to the day one of this negotiation, because we thought that there was going to be a better offer for Nigerian workers, considering the cost of living in the country. And one of the most disappointing thing about all of this is the fact that while the federal government are saying that they cannot afford at least up to 100,000 naira minimum wage, they seem not to be doing enough to curb the inflation. They seem not to be doing enough to cause the cost of living, the insecurity, transportation. We used to have mass transit in the Federal Capital Territory, but we don't have it anymore. And all of these things is something that is really frustrating. From our point of view, the media, there are a lot of things that could have been averted, that if at all the federal government puts much more effort into it, then it would definitely tone down the demand of the labor. We had labor representative here, and the spokesperson of the labor union, which is Comrade Upa, made mention of the fact that if at all the economy was in a better state, 60,000 would be a welcome idea, because it's a double of the previous minimum wage, so it would be enough, and the leader of the labor union would appreciate that. But because of the inflation rate, let's be honest, a lot of things.
You talked about the transit. It was during the El-Rufai era when he brought those buses, and it was actually helping out with transportations to various destinations where they are finding it difficult.
You are paying 100 naira.
Exactly. Exits where they find it difficult to get cars, and then they can actually easily transport those people to their residence and all. But then all those buses are actually broke down now. You could actually see them parked in some.
So why is the federal government not fixing it?
It's not fixed. I think they should dispose them and get new ones. There's not, if they fix it and it keeps breaking down. Yeah, so it's going to keep consuming more money and stuff, and you can see the back and forth with.
Now this is the frustration.
Exactly.
This is the frustration. You remember last time we had Steve Wanchuku, economic analyst, and he said for him he feels that the labor, pushing for more salary is or minimum wage is not really the issue right now, because the major issue is the inflation rates, the exchange rates, and all of that. So 60,000 on a normal day. Imagine if at that point when naira value was so high, 60,000 is enough money for someone to enjoy. But then because of the fluctuation of the naira, and then there is also the issue of inflation, there's issue of insecurity, which cost food production, food production to be at the lowest, and food are really expensive that a poor man cannot even afford.
Yes, SUMMAYYA, it's not just food. Everything is expensive.
But people are just wishing for food. Food is the major thing.
Yeah.
An angry man, a hungry man is an angry man. So at least let people eat first, before thinking of other things. So honestly, it's not looking favorable for the country at this point, and we just have to wait and see how the federal, the states, and the labor union would fix all of this situation, because at the end of the day, while all of this decision is being made, the poor masses are the ones suffering this situation. We know for a fact that the elites are not feeling this hardship at all. All right, let's move on from that. We have NSF raises concerns over the rising malnutrition in 7 northern states. You find that story on page 12. At this point, northerners just want to eat, and feel safe. So the nutrition and all of that is something that needs to be done perhaps by these bodies. We're talking about maybe NGOs and the government, state governments and all. Below the headlines there in the entertainment segment, we have it's impossible to control every aspect of production. That's according to Motorayo Adeoye. You find that story on page 12. She's speaking as a producer and saying that it's not okay to control, of course, every aspect of it. We're clearly seeing it even with the federal government not being able to control everything. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at the punch. She just said, yeah. I just feel like you're going to be a minister of I don't know what someday.
At this
can't
point
wait to see the battle.
I honestly I wouldn't. I used to be scared of appointment, but at this point I feel it's something that I just have
want
to
to
do
take?
because we it seems that there's so much disconnect about patriotism of how much people want to work for their country.
A lot of the governments, are actually, some of them are actually trying.
Like that. Thank you for rephrasing that. Some of them are really having Nigeria.
Yeah, so you can't have them all bad. There are definitely some that are trying. So yeah, we have to give that to them. So the major story in Punch this morning is saying farmers predict worsening food crisis, blame fuel subsidy removal, insecurity. And the writer there says, ask consumers to brace for more price hikes, warn government against food importation. And then FG unveils reverse national policy on food safety, promises food abundance. You can find that story on page 4.
Please,
I don't know
they
how
should
they
not
are
make
going
any promise.
Exactly. I don't know how this is going to be possible with the, last year or 2 years ago, the flood, the people are still trying to get themselves back from that. And, I think that's why the farmers are actually the ones saying this, so it means they know what they're saying.
Of course. So, and funny enough, for the longest time, we were more worried about, the flood and all of that, watching away farms and their plants and all of that. But then now, insecurity is the top of every
definitely,
situation. When you cannot even access your farm. I just feel
sometimes the government makes promises just to calm the people.
Yeah.
But then we all know that there's little or not that they can do at this point. But then we are hoping for something good.
Okay, she used the word hope just like when I said people are losing hope.
I'm always hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've always believed in that. So you can go through page 4 to, get more details on that. And then Celine Afiba families fear foul play in Aba hookup saga. Yes, I don't know if you've seen the video of these two ladies that from the Ghana thing and the man they actually came to visit also is found dead afterwards.
Yes, I mean we
and it's only one of the ladies that survived. I don't know which one of them, but then one survived.
Okay, I wasn't keeping up to date to that. Yeah, I did not know one of them survived.
Yeah, they said one survived, and this I don't know. The story is just yet to be unfolded.
It's so sketchy. I mean, if there is one thing there's a take home from this is the fact that our young girls should be really careful. I mean, whether we like it or not, let's go back to traditional ways. Stop visiting these men.
Yeah,
men as you met someone on social media, Facebook of all social media, and you're visiting the person.
Well, Summaya, it's not just Facebook. Even the people that you trust can actually. Okay, so imagine this student that was killed in that university that they were trying to cover up. It was his best friend that was also part of the people torturing him. So it doesn't really have to be someone you're just meeting for the first time. But then you just can't tell how evil.
Have to be extra careful.
Exactly. So yeah.
The economy is making the bad do more
I don't think that was an economy thing, because it looks like they were living okay, they were living good.
The ladies?
It's just the urge for wanting more. When you have money, you just want to keep having more. The guy is also not, I don't think, the rumor is like he belongs to a gang and stuff like that. So, but, like I said, the story is yet to be unfolded. So we are waiting to see what is going to be. Yeah, so... police abandoned. You can go through that story on page 20 and 21. Police abandoned stop and search duties, turned roadblocks into collection center. You can see the pictorial there, which really I don't get what they're doing though. Instead of securing people's lives and you turn it into a collection center. I don't know.
Yeah, and this is by the IGPM. I see Kayode Betokun in the picture there, and these people are being held responsible for what they're doing, which is something
and they are being stripped off, which is good.
I mean, when you go to other countries, policemen are one of the most respected people, and that is how it should be, because these are people that you should feel secure over, when you see them and safe. So when a policeman is caught receiving money, that means he can collect money and leave even the bad people.
Yeah, and you remember
to
those two police that were extorting the white lady that came? You remember the video also? They were
very
also
embarrassing
and similar thing, you know, with this.
On behalf of every Nigerian, it was very embarrassing because that video went through social media, and it's not just Nigerians that saw it.
Well,
so
I think this kind of thing is kind of all over. It's just that maybe other countries, they don't get to do this kind of thing, but they do other crimes too, you know. So
what is the most pettiest
you can go through that story on
please the federal government should add minimum wage so that our policemen can have their own.
Summaya is actually really attacking the government, but then take it easy on them. Go through page 22 and 23 for that story. Why I stopped tithe offering payments in my church. Pastor, you can go through you know, the details on page 2, which is
Pastor, thank you, but at this point, even if you did not stop, I don't think people even have enough to scrap up and give.
Well, some people do actually.
Oh my God, it's I mean, it's a known fact that the poor tend to be more closer to God. I mean, we've seen histories, religion history. So sometimes the poor, even with the scrap of things that they don't have, they still will be able to give.
With the inflation and what is happening in the country. So that's good. I hope other pastors will emulate what he just did. FG spent 697 billion on revenue collection in 11 months. Reports. I don't know which report says that,
exactly.
But I would like to go through that story though. You know, you can also go through.
I don't understand spending. If you're spending that much money,
almost $1 trillion,
then we're hoping that the revenue collection should come in 70-fold of this, right? You're going around collecting taxes and all of that, and you're telling us you spent billion or over almost a trillion naira just to collect. That means the revenue has to be much, right? They're spending this to go and collect the tax.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So now if
the tax going to?
The tax has to be like, say, 20 times this money. I mean,
but where is it going to? Which account is it?
That's the explain experts are more concerned about. The loopholes.
I would really love to go through that story later, which is on page 5 of the Punch. You can go through it as well. Minimum wage, FG proposes 62,000. Government wants 57,000. Yeah, just like we spoke about it earlier.
Governors?
And governors want 57. You know, there's more stories that we are going to take, and you know, they're saying that they can't pay 62,000. Governors are saying they can't pay 62,000,
and the labor union has
even opting for 250,000 still. You know, and it's just 1 week warning. Don't forget that they're going to come back, and I think this time around they're not going to, you know, back out. So we just hope something comes out of it. And then we have the entertainment guy, the king, the Zazu king and his queen.
Who made him king?
Well, he has made himself. Can't you see? He's always raising his shoulder, you know, so saying that he's the king. What can you do about it? Yeah. So, him and his queens. Go through that story as well on page 18, and that's it for the Punch this morning.
Well, let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper for this morning. The major story is saying we can't pay 60,000 naira minimum wage. That's the governor's declaring. Find that on page 2. Below the pictorial there, we see federal government committed to ending illegal bunkering and pipeline vandalism and also piracy. Now, that's according to the minister. We hope that happens, because while we are crying for inflation, we still have enough of things that would make the country bloom and the economy to be stabilized. And one of the things is, you know, the stealing of the crude oil, the piracy. We're talking about illegal mining. Do you know one of the major causes of insecurity is this mining? We have a lot of resources. These people are trying to chase villagers away in order to siphon that area or to get that area and do all their heinous activities, and then they will sell this raw solid mineral resources and make money out of it. Meanwhile, this money could have been used to develop the local government where these resources are found. It could be used to develop the states and the country at large. So definitely we need a more committed government, that's the federal and even states government, to move and push into stopping all of these things. People that are economy saboteurs need to pay for their crime. Please, we need to see you people holding people accountable, because the corruption and the insecurity funding, terrorism financiers need to pay for whatever they're doing. Away from that story, we have Tinubu commissions vice president's official residence abandoned for 14 years. Okay. The vice president would have a fixed home now. Yeah. Moving on for that. Speaking of homes, people are also pushing for one of the things that could cushion the effect of this inflation being felt in the country is the federal government to provide at least housing for Nigerian workers. That way, the 62,000 could be something that the labor union would accept, because one of the scary things is that people are still paying rent, and 62,000 is not foreseeable in this economy. Tariff increase, a multi-choice to pay 150 million naira fine for disobeying court order. Well, we'll have to wait more and see on the multi-choice. Rights violation, NHRC to interrogate impact of Tinubu's reform on rising incidences. We find that story on page 3. NCC endorses short course for promoting cultural content. No, that's a beautiful one. You find that on page 3. We need more cultural, displays and all of that.
Yeah, actually, that caught my attention earlier. I really like the fact that they are pushing for more cultural content.
Yeah,
so people would get to see.
So you could just click on a
different
code.
Cultures, like they did the last time. How well do you know your culture?
Yeah.
And a lot of people calling to say, oh, this is what they do in their cultures. A lot of things that we did not even know existed. So it's good to see, people, content creators. You know where you're from, so do something
your
cultural,
culture, please. We have a lot.
Actually coming to that because I'm going to attack them one of these days.
We have a lot that we can honestly bring to the table, and one of the things we keep emphasizing on when it comes to culture, perseverance and preserving and all of that is the fact that there needs to be tourism. But one of the major things that is scaring people off is insecurity. We're back at it again.
That was what I was just about to say. Well, at what point do you want people to go on tour when insecurity, when you don't even know who is going to kidnap who?
Basically, we already know our major problem.
The foreigners, we would love for them to come so they could invest.
Because we have a lot.
Exactly. Nigerians, but then they are scared also because they can see. Well, SUMMAYYA, we are also scared to go to some certain countries because of the insecurities as well.
I don't even call
it's always
that country.
Exactly. So the thing is, it's just vice versa. That's what I mean.
It doesn't even speak well for people to be scared of your own country to come. That means something needs to be done. Insecurity, Fatima, seems to be the major issue of all our problems. I mean, if it's at least been able to be cushioned, then we can move past all of that. We hope something is done on this insecurity matters, honestly, because Nigeria is going globally. We see artists like Chris Brown literally, singing with pidgin English and all of that.
And I love the fact that he is actually picking on our culture and
even Yoruba language.
Yeah, and then he's learning the dance. But not just him, Jason Derulo is also doing his best on that also. So I love the collaboration.
Even Koreans who are not known to welcome other people's culture.
And then I love the him and his collaboration with Davido. It just keeps coming up from time to time.
And
so
I love that. It's a beautiful thing.
I'm waiting to see the day Chris Brown is going to move to Nigeria.
It
looks like
people were pushing for NIN for him, saying he should have NIN.
I'm telling you at this point.
But all of this, honestly, it's showing how much the outside world wants to at least experience Nigeria.
The music industry is actually doing well. I think it's one of the industries that is actually also generating revenue for the country.
Of course. So definitely we need to do more also. We have to do our own part in making sure. I know that we'll definitely get a lot of money when it comes to tourism. We hope insecurity would be dropped at some point. Hopefully, honestly, it could be.
If you see some videos where I came across this morning, and there's, it's just that somewhere in Nigeria, very beautiful, especially in the night, and you couldn't just believe that it's actually in Nigeria.
Honestly.
And I remember one guy doing a documentary saying that there are places that they don't show you in Nigeria. They only show you the bad places, the cool places that you don't even know exist, waterfalls, green areas, a lot of things that people need to see. So.
Well, we pray for the Nigeria of all our dreams, honestly. We pray Nigeria will get to a point where we will be truly proud.
We will. We'll get there maybe in 2006. 70 something or
please let's not take it that far. We're still hoping for
maybe your great grandchildren will come and see that.
Oh my god, oh my god. Where is the hope you speak of?
Well, I am hopeful, but that doesn't mean I won't foresee some certain
All right, so below the headmaster we see Ajao Lautek's golden boy shares inspiring journey of humble beginning. You find that story on page 18. It's all about how Nigerians are super smart, and when you go to the outside world, Nigerians are doing great things, especially in medical sectors. Guardian woman Roberta Onyedokun, striking a balance between work and personal life is crucial for long-term success and well-being indeed. At the end of the day, your health is your wealth, so you have to definitely balance it. Well, these are the stories that you would find, and even more, on the Guardian newspaper this Saturday.
So let's take a quick look at the Vanguard this morning. The major story there says minimum wage negotiation hits another dead end. FG offers 62,000, Labour asks for 250,000. Reports forwarded to Tinubu for decision. We can't even pay 60,000 governors. And another writer says all their FAAC allocations will go into salary payment. I think that's coming from the president.
No, that's coming from the governors.
Okay, so
yeah, we pointed out the fact that there's a double allocation for them, more than they collected last.
So it should go into the salary payments. Yes, I totally agree. If that's the case, you can find that story on page 7, and then you can see the picture. I don't really like this picture, I have to say my mind. But then Afro Candy, I don't know what she's saying. You can check her story on page 14 of the Vanguard. Summaya, I actually really would love the way the NBC
to monitor newspapers as well. I just
feel what is being put on social media or newspapers should be actually kind of this doesn't really make sense. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Especially for
just like just like the government said no smoking scenes and ritual scenes, then there are some certain dressing sense that shouldn't be also being shown on our movies and even on
newspapers,
because we have young people going on this social medias and movies and seeing all that, and they tend to idolize those people. I don't really
we hope the young ones idolize their parents more than people they see on social media, actually.
Well, that's the thing, right? Now you just made me remember the issue of Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown, with their daughter Christine. You watching and seeing your parents being drug addicts and what have you, and then maybe that's the reason why some people actually idolize other people outside. I just feel so,
It's not, some people are unlucky, in life, but for you that are lucky, then you pick your parents as your own role model.
Well, go through whatever she's saying. Afro Candy, page 14. You can find more details on that. Drug reaction, caused Mohbad's death, autopsy reveals. Well, there's still back and forth on that.
Okay.
People, netizens are saying that there's something that they are not saying after all this months of doing this autopsy and trying to find results and what have you. So yeah, they're saying that the drug reaction caused his death.
I think there was an earlier report saying that that the autopsy did not come out with anything, that they were not able to do autopsy. So right now I'm confused.
They actually did the autopsy, but then they were waiting for the results to properly. They said they transported it to outside the country for proper autopsy to be done. So that's the result that came.
Please, we need a health sector. We need autopsy to be able to be done in the country.
Yeah, you can actually go through page 7 to find more details. And then we have the band taking his music back to the street after 20 years on stage. Well, yeah, it's actually he actually spent 20 years in the music industry already.
Yep, time flies.
Or do you remember some of the songs? It still hits, Yeah, so you can go through page 19 for more details. Why we enjoyed good relationship with Edo workers, Obaseki. You can find that story on page 8. Obedient movement not domiciled in any political party. Obi. You can find that story on page 21. And life and times of foreign women married to Nigerians. You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I need to see a documentary done on this and see how, because you could see some of the white ladies actually enjoying fufu, enjoying pounded yam. They try to pound. I would love to see how that happens, and their hands afterwards. It's something that they are not used to, so I would love to see that. Pounding the fufu and the pounded yam that they want to.
I'm a Nigerian,
they're trying to learn our culture. You can find that story on page 22, and then above the major story there, it says health promising new saliva test for early prostate cancer detection. Groundbreaking gene therapy restores hearing of children born deaf. Wow, that's a good one, Summaya. I was actually reading it earlier and actually got me thinking that something can be done. Yeah. When a child is born deaf, so there is something that with the
at the earliest.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Gene therapy. Situation. I think there are a lot of things coming out now that people can get cured with of diabetes, sickle cell, certain stages of operations, so and here and
that could be avoided.
Bone marrow operations and stuff.
Yeah, with more research.
So you can go through that story on page 18 for both health stories there. My first shocker as a governor. Yeah, I would love to read that story as well. You can find details on page 12. Alia actually said that. And then LG autonomy issues as FG battle 36 states as at Supreme Court. Councils without democracy rise to 454. You can find that story on page 10. Yeah, these are stories that we would also like to look at and get more information about that. And that's it for the Vanguard, and I think we've come to the end of the newspaper review at this point. And we will go on a quick break. What do you think, Summaya?
Yeah, of course.
And then when we come back, it's that time for the phone line segment that we all have been waiting for. So stick around.